Hello guys, this is leathertoolz. Today I'm going to show you how to use your skiving knife or paring knife. So the footage that you first saw in the beginning of the video, that I showed you quickly how the knives are used. Um, you have noticed that maybe some of the knives are not properly sharpened. Some knives I had to struggle with a little bit just to get it to make it cut into the leather without damaging the leather. But it's not really a good idea to keep a dull knife. Use it like that because it tire your hands and also the work quality goes down a bit. It's up to you how you sharpen your knives. Some guys make it very rough but just polish the edge and then just do the scarving. That works fine as well. But my preference is that I just like to get the razor sharp, and I just like to get it to really get a really clean cut every time you use your knife. Now, I will not do any sharpening video in this video because it's going to be too long. I did some of the sharpening video in the past, so maybe you can search for sharpening in my channel. You can also find different video, or at the end I will put some of the small boxes on the screen that you can click on. You can watch the sharpening video as well. Now, in terms of sharpening, what you really need is actually a strop. So I also made a video how to make strop. Strop is some of the things that you really need to have it around you if you want to make your edge really sharp and you want to keep it sharp. Is a method of finishing your edge and maintaining your edge. So I would like to show you how to keep your edge sharp and keep your edge sharp before you do the scarving. That is the first step. So before you do the skiving job, you always need to maintain your stropping. So do not cut into the leather because you will now cut the strop. When stropping, you always pull from the cutting edge. So this is the cutting edge right now. Yeah, it's a single bladed. You don't cut, you pull. Yeah, so you pull. Yeah, you pull. Yeah, just pulling. Yeah? Flat, like very flat. Yeah, and also the edge part. Pull. Yeah, you pull. And pull. Pull like this. Yeah. Yeah, this is enough to get it sharp if your knife is already sharpened with your stone. So again, the thin one, small one as well. This one is already sharp, I could feel, but just to maintain it, I go again. And the Japanese knife as well. And this one as well. Okay. Now, lastly, the Terex Charter-made Scarving knife. And around the edge, just round it like this. Like this. Okay. Now, here's a way to sharpen your blade. If you don't have anything, carefully take your knife and really carefully just stick into your nail and try to move it forward. And now if the blade edge catches your nail, it means your knife is sharp enough. But this is a bit scary technique, I know. So any kind of catalog paper, any advertisement paper, they have a really thin piece of paper. So what you can do is you do the cutting test with a very thin advertisement paper like this. Yeah, like if your knife can do this, very smooth cutting. This means that your knife is already sharp enough for the skiving. Yeah, this one is sharper. Yeah, can you guys feel the difference? Like this. This is what it means by sharp. Now, if you have a Japanese blade, Yeah, like this. This means your knife is sharp enough. So sharpening is not a problem at the moment, like this. Yeah. So let's put this paper away. So now you need to do the scarving. So this is charter-made Japanese skiving knife, and this is a typical Japanese leather knife. And what you normally do is you need to really get your angle down a bit. So you have a limited angle because you have a very short blade length. Yeah. So what you can do is usually what you usually do is when you try to connect two pieces of leather. For example, if you want to attach this one to here, you need to do skiving here. Yeah. So it's already done, but take your blade. I'm left-handed, so grab your hand like this. Yeah. If you are right-handed, of course, grab your knife like this and put your two fingers like this. Yeah. Yeah. And then you're cutting it, but you may push forward if your knife is really sharp. But if that happens at the end, if you're sharpening in this way, your grain is on top and your fuzzy side on bottom. Careful at the end, if your fiber is too loose, you can break the leather. You might lose some of the piece there. Yeah, that's why rather than pushing, it's better to just cut into the leather. Yeah, so I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, so if you're not careful with it, yeah, see. Can you see that at the end, you lost the tip of your leather? Can you see this? Yeah, because that at the end, the fiber is so loose, it cuts it. The knife blade didn't cut into it. It wasn't strong enough to within hold the pressure. The knife edge just comes through it, so it just broke apart. So you lose the edge like this. Yeah. So what you should do is actually cut into it. Yeah. So you can use that outside motion like this. Yeah. So if you're right-handed, of course, you can cut. You can use it, and you go this direction. Yeah, away from you. Yeah. Knife always has to work away from you. Yeah. So like this. Yeah. You cut into it. Yeah. Carefully. Yeah. So I did lose some of it, but then at the end it's not clean. It's not broke. It just had a breakage there. Yeah. It's not perfect though. Yeah. So you can do this a little bit again. I can use my finger to push the blade, just holding the blade, and then you just use my finger to move the blade. Yeah. You can also finish your sharp edge, very thin edge like this. Yeah. The downside is though, because the blade is so short, you can't do this kind of how do I call it? As your knife where edges wears out, it gets smaller. You can't do this type of shallow cutting. It only can get to this very higher angle. So this is why your charter-made blade is much better, because it has a longer length. And the cutting, you can also grab your blade a little bit more and use it like this. But anyways, this knife comes in handy when it comes to scarving as well. So same technique, I show you again. So there's no place to grab onto, it's a small piece. So I'm doing a very shallow cut. You know? Yeah, so without breaking the tip, just got really clean cut right there. Yeah. So this is how Japanese leather knives are used in skiving. So if you can utilize your knives, but like I said, your knife should be really, really sharp. So keep your skiving knife separately from your main cutting knife. Yeah. So that was how it's used. Now let's move on to the other one. So like this unique piece of leather. It's a scrap, but then still I'd like to use them, let's say. And let's say I'd like to skive down only this part, for example, yeah, this groove area. Yeah. This one is a narrow one, like I said in the previous video. A narrow one comes handy when I need to skive only this part, you know. So I can get that cut really precise, rather than this one big one, the wider one, the typical one that I talked about. This is a typical size. Now it's a bit weird angle, because when I want to get the part here, this blade catches on both sides, here and here, so like this, yeah. So rather to use smaller width, so that I can get to this small spot, tight spot, yeah. That's what narrow blades comes in, yeah. So I'll show you. So this one has a cut right here, so it's a bit tricky, but then now it's even better, because I can also do the skiving on this part separately. This, yeah, like this. So I did the skiving up here really nicely, thin, and also without damaging the other parts, not so much. You know? So again, this part also, you can get to it. You know? So this is very detailed work that I'm talking about when you do the leather working. So just where you use the narrow width blade, this is what I mean by that. You know? It happens really when you start to work with your leather. All kinds of things really happens. So yeah, so this is what you use with the narrow blade. Now I will talk about now the typical blade. So this is typical blade. Most of the jobs you can do with this type of wide, not wide, I mean the medium size, the typical width, which is this one is 30 millimeter. Yeah, so in inches, this is more like 1.5 inch. So 30 to 40 millimeter is a typical one. It's very sharp, so you can get your edge like this very easily. Now, again, you grab your blade like this. This finger is what holds it down. Control it how you want to push, how much you push into the leather, and this thumb pushes the blade away. Yeah? And your hand is locked into place. Yeah? You don't move your wrist like this. Yeah? Your arm goes, move it like this. Yeah? So you can see, see, if you push it too much, it breaks. Yeah? Now you lose the pieces. Yeah? So again, carefully just cut it. See, if you cut into it, even though how soft and thin the leathers are, yeah, you see that? Yeah, see that? It's very thin, but it didn't break, like here that I did. So, if you have done something here, any other work, and you're about to skive, if your leather pieces are broken like this, it's very hurting, right? So, I recommend it to complete the skiving first and then do something with it. Yeah. So, skiving here and there, if you are not careful, it's always accident happens. But as you practice, you grow better, you grow wiser, and it's much better. Yeah. So this is how we use it. Now, lastly, this is Tarek's Charter-made skiving knife, which I'm very big fan of his stuff. His stuff is work of art. I mean, the precision of what he does, and also the quality of the blade, and also the woodworking part, and all this just feels very professional. I'm a big fan of his work, and also I'm very big fan of this special skiving knife, yeah, that I use. Yeah, I have two of these, and I think I will keep using. There's been I heard that on his Instagram there's Mark II version coming out, which is I'm very also excited and interested into. He's just keep developing new stuff, and if you are interested into, I'll put the link in the description in the comment box where Chartermate Instagram is. You can order directly from him, and yeah, his stuffs are amazing. Now, this knife is a bit special. This is one of a kind, his own design, and what this knife is used is a bit different story. So all of these knives that I showed you guys, the ones that I made and also the ones that you can purchase, these things, they are all just for simple skiving, which you can just cut very flat into the leather. Yeah, so for example, this one, yeah. So I'll show you example here. You can just flat cut, yeah, just boom, yeah. But this knife is used a bit differently. This knife is used to make it step down edge cut. So what you can do is go straight and then down and straight again. So it's instead of going down the heel like this, you can do this kind of skiving. So I did already made a video about this. If you haven't, you are interested into these knives, also search for my channel Chartermate. I already did a review on this. It's the same thing, but I'll show you again in this video. So Chartermate knife, flip your knife so the back side, the flat side, comes to the sky. Yeah, it faces the sky, and then you draw a line there. Yeah, so when you do this flat part, decide how much you want to do the skiving, and then you raise your angle a little bit, and then you just do this skiving like this. So you cut into a leather like this. You're trying to make your own reference line. Yeah, yeah. So this is what you do, and decides how deep you skive into also as well. So now your tip of the edge is now hidden within the leather. Yeah. Now you're finished. Now what you have to do is use that round part so that you dig into the leather. Yeah. So if you utilize the edge of the table, and you can even do it lower, flatter, so it goes down like this. Yeah. Like this. So what you can do is you can do this flat skiving like this. So if you do it thinner, yeah, you can go a little bit further by pressing it a little bit harder. Okay. And later on you can fold your edge so that you can make it into binding, and you can do a lot of stuff with this. Also, when you do the wrapping part of your leather, if you're trying to wrap something with it, you need that space and consistent space, and this is a typical that you really need in terms of any skiving work, any of the what is it called, any of the edge work that you want to do. You want to thin down the edge, because when the edge gets too thick, you know, the design looks dull, and also it's just it's not a really neat looking if you do that. So I utilize this technique a lot when I do the skiving, because I don't have any skiving machine. It takes time, but then if you are pro, whether you're a hobbyist, you can just enjoy the edge skiving instead of having a huge bell skiving machine. Of course, if you do the production, a lot of if you manufacture them a lot, you do need a bell skiver, but just that machine costs a lot of money if you want to buy a good one. So this is what I need for now. I'm satisfied with this. So you can do this type of flat skiving with this knife. No, so that is it. Now, so maybe in other videos I will try to put together a video that's what kind of tools that I use the most in my leather work, and I'll start to really show the production, how things are made and stuff. That's why I'm trying to put together all this video. So if you are interested into what I'm going to make in the future, please subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye bye.